Hi, welcome to Hyperion Hype Club. My name is McKenna and I love the Kingdom Keepers books by Ridley Pearson. Join me as we discuss this series and others published by Disney Hyperion Books. Let's get into it. Hello everybody. Welcome to the last episode of season 2, where we will be doing Disney at Dawn, which is the second Kingdom Keepers book, as I'm sure you are well aware of by now. And we will be covering chapters 51 through 66, aka the end of this book. All right, so just a little catch up first. Kingdom Keepers Inheritance Book 2, which is Villain's Realm, Villain's Realm, is being released on February 27th, 2024. So I am very excited for that. Definitely going to put that on my Christmas wish list, and if no one gets it for me, I'll definitely pre-order it for myself. But yeah, I'm very excited to see how it goes. I also, in this time, have read Fairest of All, which, did I? Yeah, I read this since recording episode 4. This is by Serena Valentino. It's part of a kind of series giving more of a backstory to the Disney villains. And I was gifted 4 of them from my older sister, passed down, because one of her friends passed it on to her. She passed it on to me, etc., whatever. And one of them is like a hardback, and the sleeve says what order you should read some of the books in. So it said to start with Fairest of All. So even though it didn't come out first, that is what I started with. And I will have a whole review for it up next week. My reviews are under 10 minutes if you haven't listened to any of them yet. I have reviewed 2 other books. The first Inheritance book, which is called The Shimmer, and Percy Jackson and the Olympians, so the Chalice of the Gods, which just came out on September 26th of this year. So yeah, definitely look forward to the Fairest of All review, and I'll probably review the others. I also have short form versions of all my reviews that are a little under a minute if you prefer to just hear a short and sweet review. And this time I've also listened to the Kane Chronicles Book 2 Throne of Fire audiobook. I'm not going to do a short review on that, but I really enjoyed it. I loved how they had a male and a female narrator, because it's some chapters are told from the brother's perspective, some are told from the sister's perspective. If you haven't read Kane Chronicles, it's like Percy Jackson but Egyptian mythology instead of Greek mythology. And the books are actually them recording their story. So hearing it in audiobook form is actually really cool. And the 2 narrators were really good at voices too. I thought it was really fun and a great way to listen to the King Chronicles books. I'm normally not big on audiobooks, but some of them are worth a shot. And I definitely think reading the King Chronicles books as audiobooks is well worth it. At least if you're curious about audiobooks, but you still prefer paperback most of the time, or hardback, physical form, like myself, Kindle, whatever. Also, earlier this month, I'm actually recording this at the end of October, so you guys are getting this way sooner than after I record it than most of the other episodes. But I went on my older sister's bachelorette trip. We went to St. Augustine, Florida. There is a recap episode going up next week from the day I'm posting this on the Long Distance Sisters channel. Hopefully I can finish it on time. And then my little sister wants to put together a little video of all the different clips from it, and that will also go on the Long Distance Sisters channel or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Well, the recap will go on there. The video will just go on YouTube, but I always leave links for that stuff down in the description, so please feel free to check it out, especially if you want to get to know me better, if you really care, or if you're just here for the books. I mean, I'm really just here for the books. So speaking of being here for the books, let's get into the book. Wow, that's a lot of times I said book in one go. All right, so for the highlights reel of chapters 51 through 66 of Disney at Dawn, Finn, Charlene, and Amanda find the maintenance tunnel at the Tiger Yards, which Finn entered to find Jez. Wayne found a way to open the Tiger Yard hatches on VMK. Wayne and Phoebe had a digital battle with trolls and eventually found the correct area for the Overtaker server in the dinosaur building. The Tiger Yard hatches were opened and chaos ensued with 4 tigers, a bunch of primates, Finn, Charlene, Amanda, and Jez in the yard. And during that time, we see Amanda levitate herself. So another display of her powers. Once the DHI animals disappeared, the kids were able to escape before security got them. Then Willa and Maybeck go on a ride at Dinosaur. Love that ride. And the dinosaurs came to life. But eventually they got off and they found the Overtaker server in person. So from Philby's doing on VMK with Wayne's help, of course, and Willa and Maybeck being there in person, they were able to take down that Overtaker server, which is why the DHI animals disappeared in the Tiger Yard. Then it was time to confront Chernabog in Expedition Everest. They deduced, the keepers that is, deduced that Chernabog is Maleficent's superior. Although the first book had Maleficent saying there was a woman in charge of her, but maybe that's a detail that was changed between the writing of the 2 books, or maybe there still is a woman ranked higher than Maleficent. I guess that's something we'll just have to keep an eye on in future books. Finn and Amanda work together to take down Maleficent and Chernabog, who ultimately escape as the keepers ride downhill in the roller coaster cars. Amanda and Jez are declared keepers by the other keepers. Maleficent and Chernabog are seen heading toward DHS, or Disney's Hollywood Studios. And then after a month of being grounded, the 5 OG keepers crossed over and confirmed that Wayne and the Stonecutter's quill are nowhere to be found. And that is where this book lets off. Obviously, another thing indicating, yeah, this story will still go on. Which obviously we know that now, years later. This is 15 years after this book was published in 2008. So obviously, yeah, the series goes on and on and on and on and on. Now, onto the sketch. So the kids mention seeing some of this stuff from this stone panel by the Tiger Yards and like Tiger Yard windows. So they mentioned this monkey holding the fruit before, but this time the owl is what Finn has to press to get into the maintenance gate. It kind of looks like there's an opening around it. I mean, I doubt it's actually a maintenance opening. They're not going to give away that kind of secret, but also in the book, it's locked on the inside. Like, yeah, you guys know. You read it, maybe. I don't know. And then they also mentioned the elephant in the headdress on the left-hand side of the stone panel. Now, I do not see the elephant in the headdress anywhere on here. I have looked and looked and looked. If you guys see it, please let me know, because I really don't. And I'm like, what is going on here? But you obviously see like the monkey we pointed out before, one of these are the windows. Maybe all of them are Tiger Yard windows. I don't know. Maybe one of them's a window from Jez's bedroom. Because, I mean, they don't mention everything on the sketch. So maybe, I don't know. Because Chernabog or the Bat Spy does hang around there. Something to keep an eye on. Also, like this cat thing that was never mentioned toward the center top, the mouth is kind of like the bat's mouth in the upper left. Anyway, we also have King of the Mountain in the upper right-hand corner. Is that the elephant? Looks like it kind of could be no, that's like saying king. Okay, that's not the elephant. Anyway, it says King of the Mountain, which is what Jez called Chernabog in one of her like dreams. And we see the three mountain peaks, which I'm supposing represents Expedition Everest. And I think the kids supposed that too, or whatever. Okay, and lastly, the gorilla, or what we thought was a gorilla in the lower left-hand corner, is actually the Yeti, although that really looks like the gorilla and not like a gorilla and not the Yeti, but yeah, whatever. Okay. And then, of course, the dinosaur in the lower right. Although, I don't think the Carnotaurus was really mentioned as one of the ones coming alive, because there was a pterodactyl. Maybe that's the one that's like eating the other dinosaur that they're like, hey, that kind of looks like he's coming at us. Whatever. Dinosaurs, we get it. Is not to disappear. I don't know what that was supposed to be for. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the stuff never really came up. I like that the sketch was here added for us to visualize. But let me know what you guys think. Was this actual sketch of the sketch or picture of the sketch necessary? Do you think it was kind of, I don't know, like there's a lot of stuff that didn't really make sense on it. There's a lot of stuff in the book that they said was on it that we don't see on here. Maybe it's a 2-page sketch and they can only show us 1 page because the notebook's split in half, and I don't know. And like having the 2 pages would make it obvious like it's not the actual notebook because of the crease in the book. I don't know. But there it is. They could have done like a little fold out and had it like a poster. If it was 2 pages, that would have been cool. Anyway, sketch, I think was a fun addition overall. But yeah, definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments or in the Q&A thing on Spotify. Yeah. One iconic thing that was kind of passed over in the book was Flame Tree Barbecue. That is a fan favorite quick service restaurant at Animal Kingdom. I enjoyed what I had there, although the plant-based option has changed since I've been. And there was a big menu overhaul for a lot of the quick services in Animal Kingdom recently. So there are quite a few new plant-based options to try. But yeah, I'm sure I'll try the vegan burnt ends or whatever one day. But okay, hot take. I'm not a fan of Disney's fries, like their quick service fries. Now at ABC Commissary, they are fantastic. But most of the time, like the shoestring ones, like that's not to diss shoestring fries in general, although I am more of a thick fry girl. Or curly fries or waffle fries. Shoestrings are definitely like not my favorite. But there are ones that I really like. But the Disney quick service fries, I don't really like. And a lot of people say they love them. But you do you, I guess. Whatever. All right. I have got quite a lot of random comments for this book, for this like last section of the book. So now Jez's hair is platinum at the end. So in the first book, her hair was jet black, yeah, while Maleficent was like possessed her or was controlling her or whatever. And then once Maleficent's power was taken out of her, her hair became sandy. Like Amanda's was supposedly until the beginning of this book, when they said once again that they had like really dark hair or whatever. I can actually scroll up and see my notes. Okay, yeah, it says they had darker hair. Or at least that was like the description of them at the beginning of this book. But now Jez's hair is platinum, and I don't know what's going on. I really don't. This is like kind of her 4th hair color. So yeah, cool. Anyway, moving on. Finn was worried about security catching them in the Tiger Yard, but security could totally catch them after the fact, considering guests saw, and phones have cameras. And this book was published the year after the first iPhone came out. So yeah, retroactively, they still could have been caught by security. So yeah. Anyway, next, Wayne's avatar dissolved, and Philby thought that that was impossible. Now this was the avatar on VMK, and Finn was like, "Oh no, like what's happened?" Like, now far be it for me to question Philby on a tech thing. I think something on the computer can easily be dissolved. It's not like they're dead or they're injured or whatever. And like the whole like Wayne dissolving thing, they do call it being derezzed in like the Tron movies. But yeah, I just thought like Philby freaked out a little too much for that happening because it could be for a wide variety of reasons. Now, obviously, at the end of this book, we saw that like Wayne was nowhere to be found. So yes, it is concerning a little, but Philby was like, "Oh no," at least in his head. But like maybe like take a little bit more of an optimistic approach and not such an extreme pessimistic approach. I don't know. That's just random thought, my random comment. All right, so next, Maybeck said he is an only child. So forget about our conversation in a previous episode about Maybeck being mentioning like having a little sister. He has confirmed he is an only child. It is just him and his aunt Jelly. Now on to some dinosaur stuff. I still think about this book every time I see the pterodactyl on Dinosaur, and I love the little bit of thrill it adds to an already thrilling ride. I just think it's so special, and I'll definitely try to take time to enjoy my last few rides on Dinosaur if if Dinoland USA is ever turned into Tropical Americas, because like a lot of things at D23 aren't like 100%, but there are things that could potentially seriously happen. Like they've obviously gone through a lot to for them to be like, hey, maybe it's time we announce this. There's been enough thought put into it. Okay. Did anyone else notice that Jez escaped the tiger yard twice? Like right after her and Finn first came in there after coming out of the tiger tunnel, like Jez kind of creeped to the right and then headed right for Charlene and climbed up Charlene and got out. And then when Finn and Amanda are running out, Jez is also running out with them. And she's like, girl, weren't you already out? Like, I don't know. I don't know. Just an observation. Speaking of the tiger yard, I love how the tigress was good and protective. She's obviously, to me at least, it seems like she has built a good relationship with her human keepers and feels the need to defend humans. Now, I'm not saying that other tigers in human care with good keeper relationships won't hurt people though. So please don't jump in with them or stick a limb in or anything, okay? Thanks. The line for Everest in this book closed 15 minutes before the park, quote, to make sure the roller coaster was free of passengers by the appointed time, end quote. That's not a thing. Rides stay open till park close with the exception of Kilimanjaro Safaris, which usually has the closing time posted outside of it because I'm sure the animals need to be inside by a certain time to receive dinner. I know at Disney, they try their best to be as accurate as possible with their estimated times. I don't think they've done like the whole handing a person a card and seeing how long it takes that card to make it to the front of the line, like from that person walking through the attraction since before COVID. So yeah, they do their best with time estimates and they do try to be as accurately as possible up until park close. So Disney doesn't inflate wait times. They don't close lines before park close, obviously with that Kilimanjaro Safari's exception, or obviously if like the ride is down for some whatever reason. So yeah, that doesn't happen. Although I have seen wait times get super high up, hiked up at Universal Orlando a little before park close. So Just something to keep in mind. Although maybe they don't do it all the time. Maybe all the attractions don't do it. Maybe it was a manager or coordinator, leader, whatever, team member who hasn't been brought back. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just saying that is what I have experienced, and I haven't been to Universal Orlando many times though. Like I can count on one hand how many times I've been to Universal Orlando in the parks. I should say I've been to City Walk quite a few times without going to the parks. But yeah, I have noticed that about Universal. And like I get it. Like their policy is their policy, and they will close lines before park close too. I've only seen it once. I've only heard about it about one attraction, and that's Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, which the day one of the days I went when I was down in Orlando for my Disney College program in fall 2019. I went with my older sister. We started at Universal Studios, took Hogwarts Express over to Hogsmeade in Islands of Adventure. And that was about 4 o'clock. And the lines for Hagrid's was closed for the day. So, I don't know. But Disney, one of the reasons Disney does this whole like you can go until the end, like get in line till close, and like we're not going to intentionally inflate wait times, is because one of their main keys about how they operate is courtesy, and it is courteous to give guests an accurate estimate, or as accurate as they can estimate of the wait time, and to allow them to get in line up until park close. And also, the plot of this book would still work if they had to wait a little longer for Expedition Everest to clear out. But yeah, moving on. I wonder if, as they were leaving Expedition Everest, they passed through the room with the basketball hoop and wall of signatures, or like the keepers passed through the room with the basketball hoop and wall of signatures. I really enjoy Disney documentaries, and I've seen that noted in a few of them. I've even seen it mentioned in a few YouTube videos by Molly from Mammoth Club. Definitely recommend checking them out for some awesome theme park videos. It's just like a thing. Like employees have like signed their name on a wall of signatures. The Imagineers, when like building Expedition Everest or whatever, would like shoot some hoops. Next, something to keep in mind for future books. Finn has a feeling that Chernabog was the bat spy with green wings. I can't think of a time when the bat spy returned, but if it does, we know, and let's keep that in the back of our minds. All right, my last random comment. I love how Finn is a very inclusive leader and doesn't let the power get to his head. I know I've mentioned his humbleness as a leader before, but it seems like he's grown during this book and is ready to lead and do so positively at that. And by that, I mean like listen to others, don't like knock down their feelings or make them feel small, be condescending, stuff like that. Like he's doing pretty good, I think. And he'll continue to be good. I'm sure he'll have some blips that I'll point out, but nobody's perfect. Everybody makes mistakes. All right, now on to some of my random questions. So Philby called Finn over the DS, and apparently this is a thing, and you have to have both parties have to have the same like program, but it's like literally one thing that Finn says over like the call. Like Philby types out a message, Finn verbally responds, and then Philby types out another message. Like, why not just chat? Why does it have to be like a call? I don't know. And like Philby even said like, "Oh, I'm gonna call Finn on the DS or whatever." Like, just chat like you have been the whole book. And I don't know. You guys really both have that call feature on your DS or program or whatever. Okay. I've never called a friend on the DS, and I've never heard of one of my friends calling someone over the DS, but it's possible. So, it's there. Whatever. Next, I am just putting this out there. The Yeti on Everest started having issues shortly after opening in 2006, and it broke for good around 2008, aka the year this book came out. So, what if they timed the release of this book with turning off the Yeti for good? And then I dug into my question on my own a little further, and I don't really see that being the case because the Yeti stopped in 2007, which maybe this book takes place in 2007, or Ridley Pearson made this a plot point because he wrote it in 2007, and that's when the Yeti broke. The Yeti briefly worked again in 2009 and then stopped for good. At least I'm guessing Ridley Pearson wrote the book in 2007 because he wrote the acknowledgments for this book in January 2008, which I love reading the acknowledgments for the Kingdom Keepers books. It just shows how much work went in and how many people like supported Ridley Pearson, like how many Disney people, Imagineers, everything, so he can get all these great details for us, which I love. Also, if you haven't heard why they aren't fixing the Yeti on Expedition Everest, it's because the ride would have to be closed for possibly a year or more to fix the Yeti, since turning the Yeti on at the moment is an infrastructure issue. Okay, next question. I wonder how the Imagineers managed to restrain Chernabog and imprison him as the Yeti. Like, that must have taken some kind of magic and some serious, like, thought, strength, like, it just having to. They had managed to capture Chernabog. How'd they manage to capture Chernabog in the first place? I don't know. But it's just fun thing. I like having questions like that around where it's kind of just like fun to wonder and let your imagination kind of like come up with its own thing. So I definitely think I love having the section of random questions because sometimes it's like a serious thing, like, really that? And sometimes it's like, ooh, I wonder, like, what could happen? And that's kind of like something that's not important to the plot, but kind of gives you like your imagination something to do. Although maybe it is valid to the plot because they do need to capture Chernabog. So, Imagineers, come on, share your secrets. My last question. Ridley Pearson alludes to Mavic cursing quite a bit, but what word is he alluding to on the last page, or second to last page, for stank? I can't think of any two-word phrases. Like, I'll read it out for you, because I'm sure not all of you are looking at a copy of the book, or maybe some of you like rented it or whatever. Okay. I always thought staying up late would be fun, said Charlene, but it stank, although Mavic used another word. So he used one word, not two words, and I can think of plenty of two-word phrases that could fill in the blank. I cannot think of a one-word phrase. So please DM me your guesses rather than putting them in the comments or anything to keep the comments clean. My Instagram and TikTok are at Disney Safari Girl. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of just want to know for myself. Weird. Anyway, so that is it for Disney at Dawn. It was a great book. Loved all the Animal Kingdom details, as you've heard over and over again. My favorite park. The third book is Disney in Shadow. We are clearly going to get a lot more Disney's Hollywood Studios from what it said at the end of this book, and Epcot, which you can tell by the cover of Disney in Shadow. The first section will cover chapters 1 through 9 and will come out on one of the Wednesdays in January. I usually post on my Instagram story when the first one comes out, or any reviews come out too. I usually, not always, but if it's like more Disney related, like I didn't post for the Chalice of the Gods review, but I usually put something on my story about it. But I'm excited for rereading Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I started a few days ago. I'm loving the reread so far, and hopefully there are a few other books I get to read in this time, like more from Serena Valentino. But yeah, let me know what you guys are going to be reading during our downtime between books, or if you're just maybe you found this after several books seasons have been published and you're kind of just reading through the books, bam, 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 bam. But yeah, I guess I will see you guys. Well, I'll see you guys next week. So yeah, but I'll see you guys again for Kingdom Keepers in January. Bye. Thank you guys so much for listening to this episode. Please remember to rate, review, subscribe, and follow. Also, please chat with me and other members of this club in the comments of the YouTube video. My other social media information and a link to the Long Distance Sisters podcast I am also part of will be below. Back in a whack.